the ballers.
1,200 yards. The gauntlet's been thrown.
Back to the NBA Finals. Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors hoping to take a 2-1 lead tonight over the Warriors in Game 3. And despite reports that Kawhi is dealing with a knee injury, he said there are no excuses when he's on the floor. Nick, what do you think the Raptors need from Kawhi tonight?
Well, he's going to have to be more efficient from the floor, but where you can really see that he is laboring to a degree is not just his jump shot, as we discussed a lot yesterday, but his lack of activity help side defense.
Yeah, he's a half tick late.
It is not the Kawhi Leonard of the previous round where he was just thoroughly dominant defensively, and his matchup's so much easier this round because he's not guarding Giannis. They're putting him on a weaker offensive player so he can help, but in order to be effective help side defense, you've got to be able to have your full mobility. So you would hope to see him be a little bit better there, because I would imagine he's going to be more productive tonight than he will in Game 4, because it's only the one day off between Game 3 and Game 4. But they need him to be efficient offensively.
And we need him to start in the first quarter the way he goes in the third quarter. Give this offense a boost early in the game. I believe he's going to get some good matchups in this game. Iggy, how healthy is he? With Klay being limited or out of this game, look for Kawhi to have his best game of the series in game number 3.
All right, on the other side, there was hope that Kevin Durant could play Game 3. That hope has been dashed. Despite wanting to play and ramping up his workouts, KD's out. See, at this rate, when do you expect Kevin Durant to play?
Oh, this is hard because I wasn't expecting him to play at all in the whole series. So for him playing any basketball in this series wouldn't be surprised at all. Game number 5, that's when we see KD. I know he wants to play in Oracle because game number 4 is going to be pivotal, but I believe realistically game number 5 in Toronto is the first appearance by KD at the earliest.
Yeah, at the earliest. I think you can all but cross him out for Game 4. Game 5, to me, is the most optimistic one can be. And if he's not there by Game 5, then your original prediction from the day after he suffered this injury, which is we're not going to see Kevin Durant in a Warriors uniform again, at the very least this season, maybe not ever, that might prove to be true. The Warriors keep slow bleeding this, like, we'll update you in a couple days, I remember when they said maybe he'd be available for Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. That was a couple weeks ago.
I hope I'm wrong about this.
All right, back to the finals with KD out for Game 3 and Klay Thompson still questionable for Game 3. All eyes will turn to Steph Curry in Game 3. He's had an up and down first 2 games of the series. Having to be the one consistent presence on the team isn't new for Curry, nor is it something that phases him.
Nothing changes. Stay consistent with my approach every year. Whether it's in training camp or in the finals and everything in between, just trying to boost confidence, create the right perspective going into each game, and we do it by committee. There's a lot of different voices that we have that we rely on. We all just understand the moment, and we're very locked in and focused on adapting, to the circumstances that are thrown at us right now with a lot of injuries and kind of uncertainty of even who's going to be able to play. So we've been through a lot, had a lot of different experiences. This is just adding to that book. So we got to be ready.
Okay, CC, no KD, probably no Klay, and if he is in there, it's going to be very limited. How much pressure is on Steph Curry?
There's a lot of pressure. Jenny, you got pressure on him. He needs to cut his hair like he had a couple other. Last year's final, he had a shorter haircut. Jenny's like, what's wrong with Steph? His hair is growing and everything. I like it a little trimmed down. It makes it more aerodynamic with his face and everything.
Yeah, that was Jenna's commentary, the entire soundbite. But on the game, please.
This is the thing with Steph. Things do change, though. They got less firepower. He can't afford to be patient. When he starts off the game, typically point guards say, you know what, it's a big game, I'm going to be aggressive. That means attacking the basket or getting people shots. Man, Klay's got to Steph's got to be able to fill it up. Without Klay, they're dependent on him to be able to score. He can't afford to have an off night.
He can't afford to have an off quarter.
So for me, watch how many shots that he forces. He will take more bad shots because he's got to.
Yep.
So I have to be willing to accept that. I doubt. I'd be shocked if he shot above 50% from the field. He might have to shoot from deeper range. He might have to shoot earlier in the shot clock compared to letting them set up a box and one or them concentrating on him. So for me, there's more pressure because he can't be patient. He can't let the game. The greatest players always say in their biggest game, well, what's your plan? I'm going to let the game come to me.
No.
Oh, no, not tonight. He can't afford that. This is a special situation, but it's also a situation that superstars, they can thrive in. Because if they win this game, everyone's going to know it's Steph Curry. And very seldom are you ever able, you can be as unselfish as you want to, but tonight we need him to be selfish. We need to be able to see his greatness. It's hard not to try to take over the game when you have all these other guys that you've been playing with for years and they're out of the lineup. And there's no way that Steph can have trust in all those backup players that he has not played in these big games with, in this playoff run they've been on the last 5 years, Nick.
There's 2 game tapes that Steph should watch leading up to this game. Probably won't, but I think he should. One, neither have to do with Golden State Warriors this season. One is the 2015 NBA Finals that we touched on briefly yesterday. And watch what LeBron had to do in that series where coming off the finals where he shot 58%, he shot 39%, but averaged 36 a game. You know why? There was no Love, no Kyrie, and it was, man, every shot for me, every bad shot for me is a better shot other than anything but a layup or a dunk for my teammates. I have to take 30-plus shots every game.
That's the number.
Because it's the only way my team can get any type of offense going. Now, that Cavs team also slowed the pace way down. They played kind of caveman basketball in 2015. I don't know if the Warriors can do that, but Steph needs to have a mentality that he has not had to have at almost any point in his career since he's been a superstar, which is, it's me against the world. It isn't good shot, great shot. It's going to be mediocre shot, bad shot, my shot. And so that's the first game film. And the other thing he should look at is when he was at Davidson, you know how teams defended Davidson, particularly the year after he went on that incredible tournament run? With a box and one, because he was the devastating force on the team and the only one they had to be worried about. And you know what? You can solve a box and one. The Raptors would be crazy if Klay's out to not at least see if the Warriors have adjusted from the box and one, because it wasn't that Steph just didn't score in the fourth quarter once they went to the box and one, or didn't score at all in the fourth quarter. He didn't attempt a shot. He was too, in my mind, focused on the Warriors' ethos of, if I'm not open, someone else is. But that is not the case when KD's gone, when Klay's gone, when you don't have that firepower. So those 2 things, he can draw on those experiences.
If we know this, the Raptors know this, isn't there a whole game plan just going to be, hey, it's easy, just stop Steph? I mean, how does he deal with that, and what's the plan B for the Warriors?
No. You don't win 3 championships just with one player.
There's only going to be really one offensive player out there.
Okay, Jenna, I accept that. But Quinn Cook is a knockdown shooter. We saw him hit 3 big threes in game number 2 to be able to save them, especially those shots. That shot at 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, they needed that bucket. The one Steph ran onto the court, thought there was going to be a timeout. These are professional athletes. And any time you come into a game and you don't respect them, that's the time you can look for them to thrive against you. So, no, Toronto's not going to take these other guys for granted. Iggy, a finals MVP, Draymond, a wrecking ball machine.
And offensively, Boogie in particular.
Yeah, and Boogie Cousins, an all-star who is he's one of the most skilled big men in the league. Bogut, one of the best pickers that we have in the league. Man, he's got 3 alley-oops from 0 feet in the last game. So there are other things. You don't get to the finals. I know people say, oh, man, they're the luxury, Kevin Durant and all that. But those other players, let's give them some credit.
But the other point, just to your point, Jenna, will the Raptors' entire game plan be to stop Steph? Of course. And you know what? We talk about Steph as, if they win this championship, one of the 20 greatest players of all time. What was the Utah Jazz game plan against those Bulls teams when they were going for championships? Stop Jordan. And in game 6 in '98, he still dropped 45 on him in a game where his team didn't even score 90. Like, the greatest players in these spots, especially when they're undermanned, know the entire opposition is going to be about stopping me, and I've got to find a way to overcome it. Now, it's an enormous ask, and I don't know if it's a fair ask, but that is the life of an NBA superstar.
It's fair.
Okay. All right, let's move on and talk some Anthony Davis now as we continue to guess where the Pelicans' big man will be playing next season. It seems more and more likely it won't be in New Orleans. After trying to keep the brow in the bayou, David Griffin has reportedly begun listening to offers for AD.